Hi everyone, and welcome to our bonus class 5, which is the last in a series of 5 bonus classes covering each of the topic areas of the CFA curriculum, giving you an introduction and letting you know what you should focus on as pre-course reading. Okay, so today we'll be covering derivatives and alternatives. Just before we do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the school. So SHP Financial Training, we were founded in 2014. And our areas of expertise are postgraduate courses, for example, CFA and ACCA, in English, so international courses. All of our teaching is in English or using materials which are in English. And we offer, in addition to CFA and ACCA, financial English, and business valuation and financial modeling courses, as well as in company courses, which can be tailor-made for your company. We are the only ACCA Silver Learning Partner in Brazil, and the first one in the whole of Latin America, and which means we went through a credentialing process. And also for any accountants out there, we offer credit in the Continuing Professional Education Programme of the CFC. We also work in partnership with ABB CAP and APIMEC in order to offer some certain courses together. And we have partnerships with a number of other organisations, which mean that you, if you work for any of these organisations, could receive reimbursement on our courses or a discount. Okay. And so our gold learning partners provide reimbursement, and our silver learning partners offer a 5% discount to their employees or associates on our courses. So you've got the associations here, auditors and consultants, banks and other financial institutions, and then here companies, recruiters and regulators. Okay. So why might you consider the CFA program? Hopefully by this point you've already decided that you want to sign up for the exam. This class is specifically focused on who is already signed up for the exam, because we talk about the technical content and the pre-course reading to do, which in order to complete the pre-course reading, you will need to sign up for the exam so that you get the CFA curriculum from CFA Institute, and that's the reading material. Okay. So what are the benefits of earning the CFA charter? It's very important to bear this in mind, to remember this as you are studying, because you will find that at times it's quite challenging. You need to keep the momentum. It's a bit like a marathon, so you have to really keep on track and know why you are studying, to keep focused. So you will get real-world expertise. Why? So CFA is considered equivalent to a master's, okay, but it's a non-academic master's. So basically what we're talking about here is that the whole curriculum is completely focused, designed to give you the skills and knowledge that are required in the financial markets at the moment. Okay, so you are going to get real-world expertise, up-to-date real-world expertise. Okay, you will also get career recognition through the credibility that this will give you on your CV. You will also get an ethical grounding. 15% of each of the 3 exams in the CFA program covers ethics. Okay, this is a very, very important topic in the financial markets. And trust in order for the financial markets to work, which comes from ethical behaviour of market participants. Global community, so you will join a global community of CFA charter holders of 135,000, in fact more now, of CFA charter holders, and around 1,000 in Brazil. And employer demand, so you can see here the top 11 global employers of charter holders include JP Morgan, Bank of America, so I've got a list there. Okay. So what will you learn? You've got levels 1, 2 and 3. Each one is an exam of 6 hours, so it's 3 hours followed by another 3-hour exam. And those exams for level 1 happen in December and June each year, and then levels 2 and 3 just in June. Okay. So the next exam that's coming up for level 1 is the one that hopefully you are enrolled in, and that will take place on the 15th of June this year. So level 1 focuses on investment tools, level 2 on asset valuation, and level 3 on portfolio management. Okay. And you can see here a list of the 10 topic areas. okay, ethics, quants, economics, financial reporting, analysis, etc. Each of those 10 topic areas appear in each of the exams, but the weight given to each topic area is different and the level of difficulty is different as well. So at level 1, it's quite introductory. The challenge really at level 1 is not so much the complexity, but it's the volume of material. There's a lot of material to learn, and you will find that there are areas you don't know much about because it's quite broad. So it could be you're working with equity, for example, but you might not know so much about fixed income. Okay, the curriculum covers equity and fixed income. Or it might be you know a lot about alternatives, but you don't know anything about derivatives, for example. So there will be areas that you will need to study, okay, but you will get a very broad base of knowledge as a result of studying for CFA, which will really help you professionally in your career. So you might already be studying or have studied for a local certification in Brazil. For example, the CGA for portfolio managers. And you may or may not know that if you are a CFA charter holder, then you only need to do the module on the local rules in Brazil as part of the CGA certification. Okay, so you get an exemption. Also, if you are an equity research or research analyst, you do not need to do one of the CNPI exams. Okay, you only need to do the exam on the local rules and regulations. So again, you get an exemption as a CFA if you've passed CFA level 2. And there are also additional waivers or exemptions offered for securities consultants and pension fund managers, which you can see down there. And there's more information if you want to look into this a bit more on the CFA Institute website. You can see the link here, cfainstitute.org, membership benefits and waivers. And you can see waivers by country. So it could be that you're thinking about working in another country. So have a look and see what regulatory recognition you will get in that country. Okay, and that might be interesting for you. Okay, so our methodology. In the classroom, we focus on the topics which are most important for the exam. Okay, so those topics are the ones that are most important in finance. And so in this core subjects glass here, you've got a glass showing the core subjects. There's just some examples, okay. Capital Asset Pricing Model, CAPM, CAPM. Yield to maturity, net present value and IRR, internal rate of return, elasticity, LIFO, FIFO, which are last in, first out, first in, first out for inventory valuation. Okay, so those are some topics that may or may not be familiar to you. They are core, they're very important topics, and they are likely to be tested because they are important. Okay, so we can't really question spot for the exam, but we know what is important in terms of finance theory. And these areas are examples of areas that are important, therefore we focus on them in the course. Okay, and for home study, so you will need to study at home, we set the more factual learning. Okay, so there are some facts you need to know, some definitions. For example, auction markets, different types of auction markets, Dow theory, structured notes, CPI bias, consumer price index biases, histograms. Okay, so these things are quite basic. You may or may not be tested on them. This is about getting breadth of coverage of the curriculum. And as you can see at the bottom, any individual item here is less frequently examined than the core subjects, but the exam will have a significant number of questions from these topics. Okay, so as well as understanding in depth the core concepts, you also need to get a broader understanding or knowledge of the curriculum, which you will do through home study. And we will guide you on that. These bonus classes cover the home study that you need to do. Once the course starts, you will be very grateful if you have done some of this pre-course reading, the home study reading, because it means you will have more time to spend practicing and understanding and reviewing again, absorbing the core subjects which we cover on the course. So our methodology is we have a track record, as I mentioned, since 2014. Okay, so we've done, I think we're on the 8th CFA level 1 prep course. Okay, so we've got lots of experience behind us, and what we find works in order to help students prepare to pass the exams: learn, practice, consolidate. So our course has a very clear structure. We've got the Getting Started class, which we've already had for the June level 1 exam, and that is recorded, available on YouTube. Okay, and then we have 5 free bonus classes. So this is the 5th of those 5 free bonus classes covering the pre-course reading. And all of those classes are available on YouTube as well. Okay. We have then, when the course starts, the learning phase of the course, or the teaching phase of the course. So that's when you will see the core concepts, some of you for the first time. That's 21 classes, including what we call success in the exam. So we have 2 success in the exam classes. And the purpose of those success in the exam classes is to help you outside the classroom. It's to help you with kind of the softer skills. So, for example, how to stay motivated, actually how to read the readings, how to navigate the curriculum, how to use your calculator, how to plan your studies. Okay, and we've got lots of suggestions to help you so that you can keep on track, focused, happy, and learning. And we also cover, in the success in the exam class, additional practice questions on areas that students are having problems in. Okay, so really very, very useful classes, those 2. The remaining classes are to cover the content that you need to know for the exam, plus there is 1 exam debrief class in the learning or teaching phase of the course. You'll see, I'll show you a full program in a few minutes. And then practicing, we have a revision phase of the course, which we call our Esta Final, and that's 7 classes covering the most important content, but really the focus here is on practicing. So it's all about applying the concepts. So we do lots and lots and lots of practice questions. Okay. And it's to get you confident for the exam. Okay. And we have consolidation, which is, it's helping you recall the knowledge quickly. It's consolidating it in your head so that you are able to pull that knowledge that you need in order to answer a question and get it right. Okay, without thinking too much, because there is time pressure in the exam. You are not going to have lots of time to think, so the knowledge needs to come quickly to you so that you can answer questions correctly. Okay. And you have, within the course, 9 hours of exams. So halfway through the teaching phase of the course, we have a partial mock exam covering half of the content. And then we have a full, what we call diagnostic exam at the end of the teaching phase. And that is to identify your strengths and weaknesses before we go into the revision phase of the course. And then after each of those 2 exams, the halfway there one and the final one, the diagnostic one, we give a debrief class. So you will receive an individual results report. And also, we have a class where we go through the problem areas that students had in those exams. Okay, so that's a very useful tool to help you to analyse where you went wrong and try to make sure you don't make the same mistakes again. Okay. So in total, we have 105 hours of very focused, dedicated study time in the classroom for you to make sure that you are fully prepared for the exam. Okay. Now, you will see the little box at the top. So you've got classroom and revision course 100 hours, pre-course reading around 50 hours. So in the classroom, you spend 105 hours. That should actually, classroom and revision course should actually be 105, including the free classes. Suggested extra study time up to the end of the teaching phase, 100 hours study time at home, and in the revision phase, which starts in May, 100 hours at home as well. Okay, so we give a lot of guidance to help you focus your studies at home, as well as the guidance and the teaching you will get in the classroom. Okay, so really great course to help you prepare. Okay, really will benefit a lot from following this methodology. Okay. In terms of the study material, we focus on the CFA program curriculum, which is CFA Institute's guidance for prep providers. So when you are choosing a prep provider, you should focus on prep providers, only consider prep providers that focus on the CFA program curriculum, okay, which every student gets from CFA Institute. It is 6 books, and if you have signed up for the exam already, you should have received those 6 books. Okay, the pre-course reading, you will need to have those books in order to do the pre-course reading. And our entire course is built around the CFA program curriculum. You will also get access through CFA Institute when you sign up for the exam to the CFA learning ecosystem. So this is practice questions and sample exams provided by CFA Institute. So why are these important? They are written by the examiners. So I strongly recommend that you do the questions that were written by the examiners, okay, because they are the most relevant questions. They are the ones that you are going to be as similar as you will get to the ones that are in the exam, okay, because they're written by the same people. So you must do the CFA Institute questions, okay, and you can find them on the learning ecosystem, which if you have signed up for the exam, you should already have access to, okay, and that learning ecosystem is getting better and better. CFA Institute keeps adding more resources, okay, so there are plenty of practice questions for you to do as well as sample exams. It's a really good source of questions. Okay, in addition to this, as part of the course, the material provided with the course, you get slide packs for both the teaching phase and the revision phase, and that's around 2,000 slides focusing on the most highly examined topics and illustrating how they are examined. So practice questions are included in those slides as well as the material. And the focus here is on helping you to understand the CFA program curriculum. So those slides are full of tips to help you to understand the important concepts and what you need to know in the curriculum. Okay, so they make it more digestible. So you can understand it, and the teacher will teach it, and you'll get to ask questions. Okay, so this is going to be extremely useful for you. We give also guidance on what to do in each topic area. Okay, so we ask you to read the material, or as much of the material as you can, that is going to be covered in a class before the class. So you come to the class prepared with your questions. Okay, again, this will really help you. You get a question bank for the revision phase of the course, with lots of additional practice questions on the most highly examined areas, and then you get the halfway there and final practice exams that I mentioned. All right, so the exam itself, just regarding the content, sometimes people ask us about the Schweizer material. So Schweizer is a summary of the CFA program curriculum. Okay, so they take a different approach. Their approach is that instead of you reading the CFA program curriculum, you read a summary. Okay, so it's a very different way of dealing with the content. What we do is we follow the curriculum and we make it more understandable. So our focus is on understanding rather than summarizing. Okay, so it's understanding, not summarizing. It's a different way of looking at things. However, if you want to use Schweizer, then you are free to do that. There is no problem with you using Schweizer for your own study reading. So if you want to read the summaries, fine, no worries. We focus on helping you to understand the content. Okay, so that is what we are offering, understanding of the content. So in terms of the exam itself, it's in June and December each year, as I mentioned. We can see some changes here in terms of the topic area weightings in the level 1 exam, changes since 2018. Okay, so you can see ethics is the same at 15%. FRA has gone from 20% down to 15%, which is good news, I suppose, for people who are less confident in financial reporting and analysis. Quants has gone down slightly from 12 to 10%. Economics has remained 10%. There's quite a lot of material for that 10% as well. There's an entire book from CFA Institute on economics. So we don't recommend you do too much home study reading. In fact, we don't recommend you do any study reading on economics because it's a little complex and it's best delivered the teaching in class. Okay, you will understand more quickly. You'll be able to absorb the content more quickly. Corporate finance gone up from 7 to 10%. Equity, slight change, 10 to 11%. Fixed income, 10 to 11%. Derivatives, slightly up, 6%. Alternatives, 6%, up a little bit. Portfolio management, 6%. Okay, so you can get an idea there. The most important topics are still ethics and FRA, financial reporting and analysis. In terms of the structure of the paper, so you've got the first exam or first exam paper, 9 AM until 12 PM on exam day. The second one, 2 PM to 5 PM. There is not much time actually for lunch. It looks like there are 2 hours, but it takes a while to collect the papers, and then you need to come back at least half an hour before the next exam. So actually you end up with a shorter lunch break. Each paper consists of 120 freestanding multiple choice questions. So each question has 3 possible answers, and each question is freestanding. So if you make a mistake in a previous question, it won't carry on to the next one. So in total, you've got 1.5 minutes per question. All of the 10 topic areas are examined in each of the 2 papers, and they are all in the same order. They follow the order of the CFA Institute curriculum. So they start with ethics, then quants, economics, this order here, FRA, corporate finance, etc. Okay. Okay. The majority of the questions are not numerical, so actually you will find, for example, in derivatives, that there are in fact no calculation questions in the reading. So you've got the readings from CFA Institute, and at the back of each reading are practice questions, and there are no numerical practice questions at the back of the derivatives reading. So that might be slightly surprising, because maybe you think you might need to calculate the payoff of a derivative, how much you get if the market moves in a certain direction or the underlying asset moves in a certain direction. However, they're really testing your conceptual understanding, which is why you might not be asked to do as many calculations as you might think. Okay, so that's an interesting point that sometimes people are surprised about. In terms of the pass mark, so if you don't know, CFA Institute doesn't publish what percentage you need to get in order to pass the exam. Okay, so we say to students to aim for 70% in practice exams, and in terms of the number of people or the percentage of people who pass, around 40% of people taking the exam pass, and that's the 10-year average global pass rate. Okay, why is it so low? Well, the exam is quite difficult, but people often underestimate the amount of work to be done. So we've had students before who have taken the exam on their own and found that they failed it, and then they've come for professional help by doing a prep course in order to prepare better the next time, because basically they underestimated the amount of work, and also it's easier if it depends on your study profile, but personally when I was taking the exams I found it much easier to follow a course, so I knew what I needed to do and when, and it gave me more assurance, security, and also I liked being able to ask questions, and I found I absorbed the content more easily when someone else was teaching it to me, and I also felt that I was getting the feedback that I needed on where I was going wrong with practice questions. So it can really help you pull up the chance of, or maximize the chance of passing the exam if you take a very organized, structured approach to preparing. So in terms of the structure of the curriculum, I mentioned there are 6 volumes of the books. So this curriculum is what you get from CFA Institute when you sign up for the exam. There are 58 readings split into 6 volumes of books. So you get these automatically, you get them online, electronic books, or you can order printed versions, but you have to pay extra for that, $150. And I do recommend you get the printed versions. Okay, again, it depends on your preferences for studying, but I think many people find it easier to have the physical books, because you can see how far you've got through it, how far you've got to go. It's quite easy to flick through, and you can make notes more easily maybe. With the electronic books, you can highlight sections to go back to. You can also download the app and use them on your app. Okay, but I do recommend the printed versions. The additional cost, I think, is justified. But again, it's a personal decision. Okay. At the beginning of each reading, you will find learning outcome statements. So those are what you need to be able to do. Okay. And you will only ever be tested on something that falls into a learning outcome statement. So the learning outcome statement will say, know how to calculate the internal rate of return of an investment project. So if you know how to do that, then you have met or achieved the learning outcome statement, and you should be able to answer questions that require you to demonstrate that you know that learning outcome statement. So, for example, to calculate the IRR. And be careful, pay attention to the command words. So exactly what do you need to be able to do? So do you need to be able to analyze, calculate, describe, explain, etc. And at the back of each reading, you will find practice questions. So you must do these practice questions. Again, they're from CFA Institute. They test your understanding of the content in the reading. Okay, so really important to do those practice questions. As a first priority, those are the first questions that you should do. It might be that then you go to the learning ecosystem, do more practice questions, great. Okay, but the first ones you should do, ones at the back of the reading, because they will test that you understand what's in the reading. Okay. So in terms of bonus classes, you've got the timetable here showing when the bonus classes took place. So 17th of September, getting started class 1. Then we had a bonus class on ethics, then we had quants and financial reporting, then corporate finance and portfolio management, equity, and then this class is on derivatives and alternatives. And as I mentioned before, you can find these classes, the recordings of them, on our YouTube channel. Okay, so SHP Financial Training. You will notice the date is a little bit different for today's class. Okay, so 8th of January rather than 11th of January. Apologies for that. Okay, and then we have the class program here. So the course starts on the 29th of January, and our classes are on Tuesday and Thursday evenings between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m., starting with Success in the Exam, which is that class, the class that gives you additional support to help you with your home study, to help you plan your time, to help you be motivated, to help you use your calculator. So it's all additional extra skills that you're going to need in order to effectively prepare. Okay, and then we go into the content, starting with ethics. Why do we start with ethics? Sometimes people ask. You should be studying ethics at the beginning of your preparation process, middle, end, right the way through. Ethics is not something, it's not about facts that you just have to learn. It's about a way of behaving. So it will take you some time to absorb that and to really get it. And you need to recognize situations and the actions that are appropriate in those situations, which is going to come with time, with reading the examples, with thinking about it. And it will be interesting for you as well, because you will observe some ethical situations or dilemmas, probably at work or in the news, and you'll be able to start applying your ethical knowledge. Okay, so it's something that you will be more effective at doing if you start earlier. Okay, then we go into quants. Why quants here? Because quants is going to help you in financial reporting and analysis, in corporate finance, and in fixed income specifically. Okay, and then equity, you've got, and occasionally here it says no class because we have carnival. So we've marked those as no class when there is a holiday like the carnival, because it's just to see where there is a break between the sequences of Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? And I encourage you to use those little breaks in order to catch up on home study reading and to reinforce the concepts that we are learning in class by doing practice questions. So they are deliberately built into the program, okay, to give you a bit of breathing space. And an alternative, we could have had classes then, but then it would have meant the course would start late. We could start the course later and you wouldn't have so much time, which you will appreciate, to catch up on home study, because you will need to do some home study. Everyone is going to have different areas that they need to focus on. We'll cover all of the most important concepts in the classroom, but you will need to practice. Otherwise, you will not be able to recall the knowledge quickly. Okay, so you need to do practice. And there will be certain areas that you particularly have some questions with, and you need to spend a bit longer understanding them. Okay, and we are there to ask questions, to answer questions, any questions that you have on those topic areas. But you need to be thinking, okay, what are my questions? I'm not sure I quite understand this, you know, and then ask the questions. Okay, so this is time for you to be able to do that. Then on the 9th of March, we have our halfway there mock exam, followed by a feedback class. So we will ask all students to do that halfway there mock exam under timed conditions, and we will give you individual feedback on your performance. So we will grade or mark your exam. And then we go through to the second phase of the teaching course, covering all of the remaining content. And we have a diagnostic exam on the 27th of April. Okay, so that is a full 6-hour exam, 3 hours and 3 hours, set out as we would, as the real exam will be set out, so 9 AM until midday, 2 PM until 5 PM. We will collect your question paper, your answers in, mark them, give you individual feedback, and then we give a feedback class on students' performance in general to help you not make the same mistakes again. Okay, then we have a bit of catch-up. This home study catch-up here is because you will find that some areas you're not sure about as a result of doing the practice exam, and it will really help you if you can spend a bit of time looking over those areas, and everyone will have different areas depending on your experience to date. Okay. And also just how your brain works. Some people are better than ethics than the more quantitative areas. Some people are better at the quantitative areas rather than the wordy areas. Okay, so people are different. Okay, then the revision classes, the header for now. We do lots and lots of practice questions, quizzes, test your knowledge, okay, in the classroom, so you get the input from the teacher. Okay, and then finally the exam is on the 15th of June, and you have a little bit of time between the end of the course, at the end of May, and the exam, and that time is for you to do practice exams under timed conditions. And those practice exams should be the ones from the CFA Institute website, okay, definitely, because those are the ones that are prepared by the examiners. Okay, pre-course reading. So this is really important. If you are unable to do it before the start of the course, that's okay, but that just means you will need to spend more time reading once the course has started. Okay. So the more you can do before the course starts, the better. And this pre-course reading is all focused on areas where you can get a head start by investing some time in reading on your own before the course starts. Okay, so some areas are very factual. Some we're going to cover again in the course, but it will help you if you have already become familiar with those topic areas, because then you will get that reinforced and you will get any questions you've got answered when we start doing the classes. When you sign up for the course, you will get a study plan and a getting started guide with more guidance on the pre-course reading, as well as other guidance on how to get yourself ready for the exam. And we will support you with any questions that you have. Okay, and in the first class, we will have a quiz on the pre-course reading, so come prepared. Okay, you can see which bonus class covers which topic area. You've got in this table the study session, the reading assignment, the importance of the reading, the title of the reading, the suggested total number of hours that you will spend on that reading during the whole course, and then the suggested number of hours of pre-course reading. So it could be you spend more or slightly less time on this. Try not to spend more time than allocated here, or you will not get through the pre-course reading. Okay, so it's going to be a question of discipline moving on. Otherwise, you're never going to finish. Okay, and then the bonus classes, as I mentioned, that cover each topic area. Okay, so how should you approach the readings? Okay, so you get your CFA curriculum from CFA Institute. Look at the learning outcome statements related to the reading, so you know what is important in this reading, what it's going to enable you to do. Then read through it, work through the CFA program reading, focusing on achieving the learning outcome statements. You don't need to read everything, you just need to focus on the learning outcome statements. Answer the questions at the end of the reading within 24 hours. This is important. So the practice questions at the end of the reading test your understanding of the content in the reading. In order to do that, it is really important that you do them quickly. So within 24 hours of completing the reading. Otherwise, you might just forget everything that you have read. Okay, this is a way of ensuring you retain the knowledge. Mark any questions that you got wrong so that you can go back to them later. Now, it might be you go back to them once the course has started. It might be you go back in the revision phase. It might be you go back right at the end in that final couple of weeks that you've got for preparation. Okay, but you need to mark them so you can go back and make sure you're not making the same mistakes again. So this is the way you're going to be able to improve your performance, by not making the same mistakes again. Okay, we've got some examples of learning outcome statements, what the student candidate should be able to, and these ones are from ethics: demonstrate, distinguish, recommend, etc. Okay, so derivatives. Derivatives is in study session 18 of the curriculum, and it's 6% of the exam. Okay, there are 2 readings on derivatives. One is an introductory one, 56, on derivative markets and instruments. And the other one is the basics of derivative pricing and valuation, which is a little bit more complex. You can see the number of LOSs, learning outcome statements, in each reading. The high priority CFA program curriculum questions, which are the high priority questions, practice questions at the back of the reading. Suggested number of hours in total to spend on these readings, and how many hours you should spend on the pre-course reading. Okay, so you can see we only recommend spending 1 hour on reading 56 as pre-course reading, and that is just to get an overview of the different types of derivatives. Okay, we will have one class in the teaching phase of the course, so at the top of the bullet point there, 1 3-hour class during the course on derivatives. And there will also be an exam, during the exam debrief, we will debrief the derivative questions, and then there is a revision class during the revision phase of the course on derivatives as well. So you've got lots of classroom time on derivatives. This is an area that sometimes people find quite difficult because it's new to many people. But the questions you see in the exam they're not generally that hard, okay? And just making sure that you come to the classes and study the right things should really help you with derivatives, okay? It's only 6% of the exam as well, but important to not ignore. So in the class, we actually cover readings 56 and 57 together because there's repetition. Okay. So the guidance you will see on pre-course reading, this guidance is in the Getting Started guide that we send to all of our students. You may find that the readings here become quite technical and that they would be better kept until you have the benefit of a tutor explaining how the instruments and markets work. So if your derivatives is completely new to you and you're struggling with even just the reading 56, which is the introductory one, wait until the course starts. There is no point in spending hours and hours trying to understand something you just are not getting. Okay. However, most people, I think, should be okay with reading 56, at least to understand the different types of derivatives, okay, which are futures, forwards, options, and swaps. Okay, futures, forwards, options, and swaps. Okay. So reading 56 if you can. Just to give you a little, well, here we go, the list of the different types of derivatives. So what is a derivative? It's a financial instrument that derives, that's why it's called derivative, its performance from the performance of an underlying asset. So the value of a derivative will depend on price movements in the underlying asset. Okay. And we have 2 different types, forward commitments and contingent claims. So a forward commitment is when we agree to a transaction now, but delivery payment is in the future. Okay, and we are locked into that. We must either buy or sell in the future according to the contract, whatever we agreed. The quantity we agreed at the price we agreed at the time we agreed. Okay, there is no flexibility. And the types of forward commitments that we can get are called forwards, futures, and swaps. Okay, so you will find the definition of those in the reading 56. And then we have another type of derivative, or the other type, contingent claims. Okay, so this is where one party to the contract has the right but not the obligation to buy or sell an asset in the future at a price agreed now. So you've got the same thing with this price that's agreed now and as a future transaction. But a contingent claim is different because one side of that claim, one party, has a choice about whether or not they execute. Okay. And so the example that we've got for that is an option. Also a credit default swap, okay, which is, it provides a credit default swap will give you protection if something happens and you can choose to exercise it if there's a credit event. So if, for example, you've loaned some money to a company, the company goes bankrupt, you can't get the money back, then through the credit default swap, you will receive a payout. Okay, so it's conditional on something happening. Okay, so, and you need to understand what a long and a short is in regards to options, and a put and a call. Okay, so all of that is in the reading, and we cover that in the course as well. And then alternative investments. So this is study session 19, that's the last study session. Alternatives are 6% of the exam, and there is just one reading. Okay, reading 58, Introduction to Alternative Investments. So this is a really interesting reading. We cover it in class as well, but it will help you if you've read it beforehand, because there's quite a lot of factual information about the different types of alternative investments. Alternatives will also be covered in the exam debrief and in the revision class that we have on alternatives. Okay, and the pre-course reading, so read reading 58. Okay, why alternatives called alternatives? They're called alternatives because they are an alternative to traditional investments in equity and fixed income. And actually on the next slide, I'll come back to this one. We've got a list of the different types of alternative investments. So we've got hedge funds, private equity, real estate, commodities, infrastructure, and other. Okay. Others could include fine wine, art, stamps. We don't include those. It's good to be aware of them, but they're not analysed as part of the curriculum because they don't have any cash flows. They don't have anything that we can actually use to value them. There is only one calculation that you will need to do, which is the calculation of hedge fund fees, and you need to understand the features of the different types of alternatives, including terminology, risks, benefits, and fee structures. Okay. So you will get all that from reading 58. Okay, so due to its low exam weighting, we do not spend a lot of time in this section in the classes, so it's really going to be very valuable if you can read reading 58. It's very well written. It covers a lot of ground in relatively straightforward language, so this is something that you should be able to read without too many problems. Again, as always, focus on the learning outcome statements and do not spend more than around 4 hours on this reading unless you have done all of the other pre-course reading already. Okay. It's easy to spend a long time on this reading. It's quite long and there's a lot of information, okay? But the thing is, you are never going to know everything in the CFA curriculum, never. And you only, it's not going to be that easy to get 70%, but do not get stuck on any individual reading. You need to get coverage of the curriculum, and you are going to get depth as we go through the course, depth in the most important concepts, so we'll focus on the most important concepts. So you will have the depth you need as a result of doing the course. You will see how these topics, the core concepts, are examined. You will get practice doing that. You need to get the breadth through the pre-course or home study readings. Okay, and in order to do that, you're going to need to go through the readings, focusing on the learning outcome statements and reading in an active way. Okay, you cannot spend too long because you need to get the coverage. Focus on the learning outcome statements, and you'll find you have enough time to do that, okay, if you start early. Okay, so next steps, if you want to sign up for the course, which we hope you do, you can sign up on our website, shptraining.com, and go to Inscrição, and there is a form there, so that's at the top, on the top menu of the website. There is pricing here. We're very consistent with other course offerings in Brazil, so 4,000 reais for the course, and you can pay by PayPal or upfront with 4,000 or via PayPal. Unfortunately, that's with interest through PayPal. What do you get? We are in the course. We're offering additional material from Quartic. Okay, there is a cost to that. 750 reais, which again is very reasonable given what you get. So you are going to get an education workbook, revision question bank, and practice exam through that. Quartic is a prep provider approved by CFA Institute. They have excellent material. So I have taken, as the academic coordinator of the course, a decision to use Quartic material, and there is an additional cost of 750 reais for that. So that's something for you to be aware of, but it's definitely worth it. Okay. Experienced, highly qualified and trained tutors. Small classes, so you can expect to study in a small class, which a lot of our students really appreciate. It means you get a lot of individual attention. We give you lots of support. We are there to answer your questions. You're going to feel a good community spirit with the other students as well. We've got live online and classes and recordings, so that gives you flexibility. So sometimes people ask how the live online works. They are not pre-recorded classes. So you join the WebEx platform online, and you're joining exactly the same class that students in the classroom in Sao Paulo on Avenida Paulista are in. So in the classroom, you've got students physically there, plus students who are joining the same class via WebEx. Okay, so the same slides are projected on the screen in the classroom that you are seeing through the online platform, the WebEx platform. Okay. We record the classes as well, just in case students miss them, but you should watch that recording within 1 week, and we only guarantee that it's going to be available for 1 week. Why is that? Because we want you to continue to keep up with the classes. It's really important. If you get behind, it can be very difficult to catch up. So it's critical that you follow the program, keep on track, because the exam date will not move. Okay, that's fixed. It's not going to change. So in order for you to be prepared for the exam, you need to make sure that you're studying in time with the course, not missing classes. Okay, so keep studying, follow the program. For those of you in Sao Paulo, we are at a very convenient location on Avenida Paulista, right next to Consolação metro station. And then there's, of course, the live online option as well, which might suit you even if you're in Sao Paulo because of the traffic, etc. Or maybe you can't get away from work earlier and you want to watch from work. Okay, flexibility. Okay, and then we have excellent student feedback. So if you want to have a look at the feedback, you can go to our website and you then go to the depoimentos section. So we'll just do that. Depoimentos top. And then click on level 1 CFA program. And you will find lots of testimonials from previous students, including, I think, just one video. So just some comments from students about our courses. Also, if you would like to speak to a student, you are very welcome to. Please just let us know and we can connect you with someone, preferably who works in the same organisation as you, if we're able to do that. Okay, so there we go. I think benefits of the course. In order to be successful in this exam, there are certain key rules, key things that will help you. So resource planning, discipline, focus, practice, and review. And the course will help you with all of these things. So resource planning, we help you with your studies outside the classroom. So we've got the pre-course reading, which we've gone through in the 5 bonus classes. Okay, and once the exam starts, the course starts, we will send you weekly exam countdown emails with guidance on what you need to do at home. Discipline, so before each class we ask you to review the material and maintain study discipline by attending all of the classes. So it's really important for you to come to classes or watch the recording as soon as you can if you have to miss a class, okay? But really the ideal thing is to join the classes live, either live online or physically in the classroom. Focus, so in the course we will help you focus, we will focus on the most important concepts in the curriculum and help you make links between the different topic areas as well, which will help to reinforce your understanding. Practice, so we do lots of practice questions in the class. We also give you guidance on which practice questions to do at home. And then review, so you review your performance through practice exams. We help you by giving you feedback on those, which will help you to see where you're going wrong, which topic areas you're weakest in, and we'll give you tips for how you can improve. Okay, so lots and lots of benefits there. And again, just to reinforce, the focus, the ethos or the philosophy of the course is understanding the curriculum. Okay, so it's not about summarizing the curriculum, it's about understanding it. Okay, so you can apply the knowledge in the exam and get pick up marks. Okay, so you can pass the exam. So keep up the studying. For those of you who have already signed up for the exam, I hope you have. It's really going to be something that's very useful for your career. And send us your questions. Okay, if you've got questions before you sign up, then please contact us. You've got several options here. You can go onto our website and fill in the contact form. You can call us on this fixed line here. You can send a WhatsApp, or you can send an email to contact@shptraining.com. Okay, and so thank you very much for your attention. I wish you all the best in your careers, and I hope to see at least some of you on the course. It would be a real pleasure to help you to prepare for this exam.